Welcome to Rapid Motion Dirtworks. This week we head off to the northwest of South African border into the desert of Botswana for the Desert 1000 off-road race. All of this action from round 3 of the Off-Road Quad Championship is brought to you by ATV Passport and Speed Quad. An absolutely awesome field has joined us here in Botswana for round 3 of the South African Off-Road Quad Championships. And it's going to be fun and games out there, considering that we've got 4 Can-Am boys trying to catch the leg up front there of Jacques Struwek. Vince Loubser leads the Pro 450 class, and he's going to be a tough man to beat here in the desert conditions. Racing Section 1 was made up of some really technical stuff and lots of worries about thorns as well as visibility. The red sand going to be causing some major problems for the riders. Hopefully they've got some good goggles on as they head off into Racing Section 1.
Racing Section 1 consisted of 330 kilometers. The quad riders started about 140 odd kilometers into the route as to not be able, so that the cars cannot catch up with him. The cars started at the beginning of the race and the bikes started behind the cars at the beginning of the race as well. So the quads got like 2/3 of the race to do and they will finish at Game City.
Well, as you can see, as the riders got underway there, the visibility already causing some major problems. We saw a big dust ball here. Here's Busman absolutely flying at the moment, and he's leading at the front, looking pretty good as he comes through this very tricky section. As I mentioned, look at the size of the thorns on those trees. Major problems here for these riders, and hopefully not going to get caught up in them too much. As you see them starting to ride through and find their lines, hopefully just going to be getting into a rhythm as quickly as possible. That's one of the Loubser boys. In fact, that's Vince Loubser, and he looks like he's on a charge here this weekend, looking to maintain that championship lead in the Pro 450 class.
The quad riders started according to the championship points, so actually everyone is racing on his own time. But the dust for the guys in the middle is a bit of a problem. The front guys got a clear view.
You can see Cornell taking some major strain through there on that big Can-Am Renegade. It's not going to be an easy day for these boys out there, there's no doubt. Here comes Hendrik Potgieter. He looks like he's flying a little bit quicker than he did earlier and looking to catch up for lost time. He's a bit further down in the championship, so he's got a lot of work to do today.
Yeah, Hendrik started just inside the top 10. He had a bad run at the previous off-road race, and he will just try to put up his best time as possible.
Well, we hope that he gets up there because he's one of the Speed Quad boys, and they are supporting this event in a big way, and hopefully we'll see some of the boys having fun and games though. The road's starting to rut up a little bit. It's going to be tough stuff tomorrow. This is the kind of conditions that are already starting to affect some of our mid-pack riders. As you see them coming through this red desert, it's absolutely amazing landscape here in Botswana, and what an awesome place to ride.
Oh, that is one of the Mans brothers. I see they're both racing now in the senior championship. And here comes Brian Baragwana. Unfortunately, no points up till this stage for him, but he's always in a good spirit and he would really try to make up for that.
Yeah, Brian is a long-time campaigner when it comes to quad riding. We expect to see him up there at the end of the day and hopefully at the top of the podium by tomorrow. Some of the boys not giving any inch here and really flying. Absolutely awesome stuff as they come through this red desert. Here comes Chris Kutzer on his Bombardier, and he looks like he's having some fun too. Look at the dust that he's kicked up though for the man behind. He can't even pick up that number. That's going to be difficult to try and pick up all the riders here in amongst this very thick red dust. It's a great bit of camera work here, stuck in the middle of nowhere. And that's what we try and do here on Rapid Motion Dirtworks. Give you all the action that happens out in the off-road.
How's the route?
Yeah, it's not too bad. Cut myself a bit.
Well, looks like Sean Gunther's had a fun day in the saddle so far, and everything seems to be going okay for him. Just doing some final checks here in the first service point. It's going to give them an opportunity to just make sure that the bikes are working in pristine condition. And so far, so good for Sean Gunther. He's been the man to catch today. Let's find out what's happening with Busman.
Well marked, flat, winding, but yeah, it's like that. The whole route's like that. Yeah, we should be home early.
That's what he always likes to try and do, get home as quickly as possible. There you can see the final notification being given to him as he came into the decontrol. He has to hand that back to the marshals as he goes out. Otherwise, he will be docked some time, if I'm not mistaken.
Are you finding the route? Very lucky, riding through a lot of trees, but not too problem.
Jean Coetzee from Quad Revolution looks like his day's gone really well, but he's chosen red lenses for his goggles, probably the worst lens to ride with in the conditions that we've got here today with the red sand and all the dust. Looks like Vince Loubser, everything according to plan for him so far. On board the Lurie Yamaha from George. He looks like he's going to be a tough man to try and get past today. especially the conditions that they've got at the moment. I think it's going to be tough for anybody to pass with all of the dust out there.
Yeah, shame poor Vince. He got lost a little bit. That's why some of the guys are in front of him. But at least now there's someone else's dust that he can follow. Here comes Hendrik. Him and his teammate Carl Wichmann had a little bit of a get-together in the bush. I think they lost a little bit of time as well. So we'll see what happened to them.
So not always a good thing to follow somebody in front of you, because the possibility is that if they make a mistake, you're going to be doing the same kind of thing. You can see refuels on both hands here, one into the bike and one into the mouth.
How's it going out there?
It's tough, but it's lekker. It's fast.
Dust?
A lot of dust. But yeah, we'll still go.
Stefan Swanepoel from Louis Trichardt looks like he's also ready to go for the next section. At this point in time, still quite a long way to go for these boys, and they've got a lot of work to do in racing section 1, and then they've got to come back tomorrow and do it all again. You can hear the crowds in the background. This is the one awesome part about coming into the desert here in Botswana. The crowd support is absolutely awesome. We can see Sean Gunther is about to get his earful of about 5,000 people standing on this bridge. And really, it's great to see motorsport getting such support here in Botswana.
That is Jacques Briot on his ATV Powersport Honda. His first desert race. These youngsters, it's the first time for them in Botswana, so enjoying it full time out.
Now the youngsters coming in here, and this man not that young anymore, but still young at heart and giving it everything he can. That's Jacques Strubig, the Busman. And of course he's going to be a big crowd favourite because he doesn't keep the wheels down. And of course every time you see those wheels come off the ground, the crowd just goes even wilder.
This is Gerrie Prinsloo. He had big problems the first day. You can see his rear back shock is gone. So he's been racing like that for the best part of the day.
Sure, that's not an easy thing to do. It's difficult enough to drive a quad on its own, but as soon as you lose anything on that motorcycle that assists you, here comes Jean Coetzee. It's going to make it a very, very tough day in the saddle, and especially when there's no rear shock, it's a really tough day in the saddle. There's Vince Loubser. He's made up a bit of ground after the decontrol, so that's good to see. The man from Ermelo pushing hard, trying to get up a little bit further in this field. Big roost, and the crowd's going to just love that.
That's Leander Pino from Bloemfontein. Always at the front, but he struggles to make it to the finish. But this guy does. Cornel de Villiers on his Renegade.
Now, Cornel's had a bit of a tough season this season as well. Using all the off-road stuff for training, I'm sure, again, for later on this year when he heads off back into the Dakar. And this is the kind of conditions he would have been used to, so you'd expect him to be a little bit higher up than what he is at the moment, eh?
Yeah, apparently he made his Renegade a little bit wider and he got a few flat tires because these two roads are a bit too narrow for his wide quad.
Yeah, you want to drop and pimp your ride, but you're going to have to learn your lesson, unfortunately, hopefully for the next round. Whoa, getting an absolutely awesome styling there. Very nice stuff from the riders out there in the desert.
This is youngster Jean-Ray Williford from Kaartsdorp, also in school still, doing very well.
Well, he's not in school at the moment, but yeah, we understand what you're saying there. He's having fun, that's for sure. Most important thing, you just mentioned the fact that there's been a lot of punctures. And that's going to be tough for these boys, and they're going to have to make sure that they've got the right tyres on, and also thorn protection in those tyres, as we see Okatman diving and dodging trees here. Oh, nice to see a Shell Ferrari shirt at an off-road event. Always a good thing to do there. But it's great to see the crowd support. That's the most important thing. 44 on his tail, that's his brother. And here comes another man, also an LTZ 450. Suzuki's starting to make a little bit of an impression on the off-road side of things, and starting to give Yamaha and of course ATV and the Speed Quad boys a bit of a run for their money now.
Yeah, like VLS is giving them a run for their money. That was Johan van Lille on his Quadworks VLS.
Well, it's always good to see so many manufacturers getting involved in the off-road side of things, and that's what we want to see. It would be good to see a little bit more Kawasaki support. I know that Honda are in here, but we definitely need to get as many manufacturers involved. That's what makes the sport interesting, and also gives us a little bit more to talk about while we're out here in the desert. Look at these guys absolutely flying through here. And, well, it looks like it's going to be a tough day in the saddle for some of these boys. 354, that's another one of our senior riders. That's Chris Kutzer. Maybe he's just stopping off to grab something on the braai there. It's all fun though, and that's what we want to see. The most important thing is while you're out there, enjoy it, because you don't get to ride this kind of terrain that often while we're down south in South Africa. Rudolf de Vet also having a good run so far. He's in the top 10, so good for him. Here comes Sean Gunther, 4 hours and 49 minutes, just under 5 hours in the saddle today. Let's find out how the day really went.
Yeah, it was good. It's not very technical. It's pretty fast and open, but Really nice track. Quite warm out there, and I think the dust's going to be a big problem tomorrow as well.
Yes, some of you guys got a bit lost.
Yeah, we got lost. The markings something to get used to, but it's you quickly find your way again.
Second man in is Jacques Briot, youngster from Brits. His first desert race as well, and he put up a good time today.
Dit was baie vandag. Baie sand, die laaste stukkie karre baie uitgery. Die booms was baie groot, maar overal baie lekker.
Ek hoor jy het 'n probleempie met 'n radkas.
Ja, my 5de rad's weg, maar net die laaste stukkie het bietjie laat ek bietjie stadig gemoes ry want dit was baie vandag. Maar ons gaan vanaand regmaak en môre sien wat gebeur.
Another youngster to keep your eyes open in the world of off-road racing. Jean Coetzee coming through in 3rd place. Hopefully he's going to change those goggles to clear ones for tomorrow.
Okay, the route is a bit technical. Every corner has a nice tree. So one of the trees made me fall. But yeah, close to the end again, the bike eye-sided against the side of the berm, so I fell again. Busman overtook me, checked if I was fine, no problem. So we carried on, and Busman's on his way now.
It's great to see this man back in the saddle, and Leander Pienaar starting way down the field. He had the fastest time on the day, although he came in 5th place. It's good to see him there, and hopefully the consistency is going to keep him up there and give him an opportunity of taking another win.
Well, it's the first race in Botswana for me, yeah. But I've been training hard. I've got a nice bike. The DS runs well, yeah. Very nice BP suspension, HST pipes, Lone Star A-arms. Bike handles very well. It's a quick bike, and with all the modifications we've done to it, handling-wise, it can handle the speed. So I must say I worked hard today, but I'm glad.
Some more work for you tomorrow, though, Leander, as we see Vincent Loubser coming through. He's had a nice day in the saddle and a good ride from him so far. It looks like he might be very, very much in contention for a top 3 finish tomorrow if he can keep up this kind of pace. Next man going to be coming across the line, Gerrie Prinsloo. He's made it across with that broken shock, so congratulations to him. You can actually see he's helped Busman out by the looks of things. Helped tow him in there. Oh, there's the tow rope stuck on the front end there. And here comes Busman. It's great to see support from your other riders and your fellow competitors. What actually happened out there with Busman's bike?
It seems like he had some engine problems just about 5 kilometers before the finish, and it's just so nice to see that another one, even though Gerrie had problems himself, he was willing to help Jacques tow his bike to the finish.
Well, I suppose I'm going to pass a DB level for next year, so yeah. No, some engine problems, we'll sort it out tonight. We'll be back tomorrow.
Where did it happen?
About 5 k's back, so yeah.
The last time I saw you were lying second.
Yeah, I was leading after second ESP, and then we all got lost horribly. But it all fell into place again. Pushed, and caught up again, and then yeah, Murphy's Law at the end of the day.
Well, starting positions for tomorrow is how they finished up today. Leander Pienaar on top of the board, ahead of Sean Gunther, Jacques Briot and Gerrie Prinsloo. Coetzee and de Villiers there in 5 and 6, and then it's Loubser, Groenewald, Van der Merwe and Struweg. Racing section 2 got underway very, very early in the morning, and a lot of guys were a bit worried and concerned that the sun might give them a bit of hassles with it coming up so early. And of course in the desert here, it's not going to be easy with the visibility that they had yesterday with all the dust, and you can see the dust has not gone away. So it doesn't rain too much here in Botswana. Sean Gunther just behind Jacques Struweg, and Jacques Struweg's made up a lot of time here in the first section of racing section 2.
Well, of course, it's a totally different track, although it's the same route, because the vehicles has been over it yesterday, the day before, and now it's all rutted out nicely for the quad riders.
Yeah, it's also going to affect some of these boys with the size of the wheels and the wingspan of those wheels, if I can put it that way. It's not going to be easy for them because, of course, the track on side of a four-wheel drive truck and those back vehicles is going to be a lot wider than what we see here on the quad. So tough conditions here today for these quad boys. And girls. Beg your pardon. Here we see Hendrik Potgieter nailing it again wrong, but you can see that the marking is definitely out there. Pick it up on the trees, just make sure you don't hit any of those trees, because the size of the thorns on those trees are going to do some serious damage to the limbs hanging onto those motorcycles.
Dirk Zwenke from Cape Town and his LTR 450 going around the trees nicely there. And here comes Cole Wiekman. Him and his teammate Potgieter is like separated today. going nicely on his Can-Am as well.
Looks like the Speed Quad boys battling a bit here in the desert. They're a little bit quicker at some of the other events that we've seen so far. Definitely having some strain here in the desert.
The Can-Ams are a bit too big, they say, more difficult to handle than the lighter quads.
That's always going to be a difficult thing to do. Woohoo! Two-wheeled action there. Daryl Curtis would have been happy with that. Nice bit of riding from that youngster. That's number 146, Rudolf de Vet. A lighty in the class as well, and someone to watch out for in the future. Lots of youngsters coming up here, and that's always great to see, isn't it?
Yeah, that's another one, Jean-André Olivier. It's nice to see all these youngsters, and especially trying their hand to something as grueling as a desert race. But it's nice to see that some of the dads are racing in the senior class, and the boys are racing in the overall class. So it's a whole family thing for these guys.
No, it's important too to keep the family busy and to make sure that they have some fun in games. The route today is slightly different, as you said, to yesterday's route. A little bit more treacherous now, considering that the cars have been through here and the four-wheel drive vehicles. And considering that we've just done 330 Ks yesterday, now we've got another 330 Ks to do on a more treacherous terrain.
The vehicles cut open the root, so the roots of the trees are actually causing problems for people like Cornell here on his Renegade, and that's what's causing the flat tires.
The Pimp My Ride Renegade, that is, with the big wheels and the chrome tackies as well. Nice ride there from Cornell de Villiers. Another Suzuki man having some fun. KJ Holborn on his LTR 450. Very, very talented motocross rider as well, that young man. You see another one of our riders coming in here to take this little right-hand 90 degrees.
That's Johan van Lille. And here comes CJ Smith. He won the senior class in the previous race.
Looks like he's right up there as well and in contention as we see the next man on the Southern ATV. That's Lindsay Darlow. Things starting to bunch up a bit here in the mid-pack. He's starting to affect some of these riders. Nearly getting it wrong there completely. Going off into the side. That's not what you want to do. That's what's going to cause punctures if you are going to get a puncture. Try to stay on the road as much as possible and keep that motorcycle as clean as possible as well. Paulo Marquez going through there. 338 is Daniel Kemp.
Yeah, these guys started with only 10 seconds separating them, and I think with the dust and the sun and the speeds, that's why they're so bunched up.
Chris Kutzer still out there too. Saw him twice yesterday and he looks like he's still out there and enjoying the event. This is number 40 coming up towards us at a rapid rate of knots. That's Peter Jack. He's out there on a Bombardier. Not quite sure who that was, but lots of riders out there now. We can see the dusty conditions not making it easy for us to pick up the numbers. We come into the decontrol for the first time today and a bit of repair work to be done on number 5. Leander Pinar having some problems with the tree out there. Let's find out what happened.
No, good. The cars messed up the route yesterday. Cars.
Not too happy with the cars and the four-wheel drive machines is Mr. Pinar. He gets off and on his way once again. Here's a man who's going to be tough to beat today. He's really flying and looks like he's got something in the tailpipe there, waiting for this next section of the route.
Hi. Hey, how's it going out there?
All right.
Any hassles on the route?
Just the one guy for Elders now.
So fallen riders seem to be the only problems out on the circuit, or the damaged route caused by the cars. Here comes Busman. Looks like he's had a good day in the saddle. Very happy man, always gives a wave to the crowd and to the camera. Gets his final instructions and into the decontrol he goes. What kind of repairs they're going to be doing now for the second day and the type of pit work that'll be done between these guys?
Well, they're going to do as least as possible necessary. The pit lane is 3 kilometers long and they'll have to be out of there before a certain time, but not before the certain time.
What's going out there?
It's going all right. Cars just turned the track up. I can't believe it. It's a different track than what we rode yesterday. But yeah, I guess it keeps it interesting.
The fact that you're on a large bike, does it make it more difficult for you?
It definitely does. I battle to get around the corners. It's got a high center of gravity, so in the deep ruts of the cars, it just wants to tip over. So it's a bit of a handful, but we're still having fun.
And that's the most important thing. Here comes Rudolf de Vet. As you see, Cornell leaving and making his way out of the pit lane area. So 5 minutes they've got to get out of this 3K loop, get in, do as much as they can, get out as quickly as possible, but also don't get out too quickly, otherwise they will be penalised. You can see most of the teams just putting some refueling in to both the bike and the body, and getting up and out of here as quickly as possible.
It's going well. I started 23rd. I think I'm lying about 15th. Very dusty. It was a bit of a hassle in the morning, riding through the dust with the sun. But yeah, I'm having a much better day today. A lot more fun.
The route compared to yesterday after the cars have been through?
Yeah, the route's a lot sandier, more rutted out, more humps, big berms on the corners. But I've changed over to the skinny tyres and they've been going well.
Tyre choice, very important, as is making sure that you've got some brake fluid. Otherwise you ain't going to be able to brake for those corners. The Speed Quad boys working overtime here to get the fuel into the motorcycle as quickly as possible and get them boys back out onto the track. The red dust has been a problem all weekend and it's going to continue to be one. They're going to just hang in there for a couple more Ks and finish up. They're coming back to the bridge section. It looks like we've got a couple more people here than yesterday. I think all the locals have been to call their friends and they want to see these boys coming through here at breakneck speeds. And that's exactly what they're going to see as we see Leander Pienaar, first man through. Here comes Shawnee Gunther. Oh, 2 wheels. Very nicely done there from Sean Gunther. As I said, as soon as those wheels come off the ground, the crowd goes mad. Vince Lopes is the third man through. Up in the top 3 and looking to take a top 3 position today. Hopefully he can hang on to that. He's just hoping that something's going to go wrong with either Leander Pienaar or, of course, Sean Gunther's machine ahead of him. We are missing somebody here as we see Dirk Schwenk coming in. Looks like the Busman's gone missing. What's happened to Jacques?
Well, just before the riverbed, he had some engine problems and he couldn't make it to the finish.
That's a big problem there. He's going to lose his championship lead, unfortunately. Carl Wickman going through there right on his tail. Here's Rudolf de Vet on his Yamaha. I tell you, the Muntz boys have been on it this weekend. So the Lopesha brothers and the Muntz boys, they're meant to watch out for when we head into the desert. 42, here comes Orchid. Still charging on that Suzuki. Next man through is going to be 158. That's Stuart Holder. He's the man from George, of course, riding in Luri Yamaha colours. That's number 178, who's the next man onto the bridge section. That's Cyril van Biljoen. And yeah, speak of the Muntz boys, here comes Isaac. Looks like that Suzuki's working double time. Sam Ungara right on his tail. 3 of the senior riders in the top 10. Looks like experience is what counts here in the desert. With about 30 Ks to go, it looks like our boys are just pushing as hard as they can to get to the finish and hopefully end up as high up on the points positions as well as on the podium if they can. It's not going to be an easy thing to do for them. With only 30 Ks to go, they've done 630 Ks so far. These boys are going to be very, very tired with lots of work still to do. As you can see, starting to box up here in the last section. In fact, being towed along, that's the way to do it. We saw it yesterday, and it's great to see the camaraderie amongst our quad boys to get their fellow competitors over the finish line. Big local support here for Paulo Marquez and taking a bit out of the school of Jacques Struvik with the flag on the back there, the Botswana flag, flying high and getting lots of support. Oh, not a good thing to do, cut out polka dots on a quad. I don't know if that's the right kind of livery to have on the side of a quad, but it works for him. That's what we need to take into account, and he's having fun.
That's Lindsay Darlow also on his way to his first DES race finish. And close behind him is
Greg Miller. Greg Miller on the big Bombardier as well. As you mentioned earlier, they're not the easiest things to get around the desert. You want a slightly lighter motorcycle when you get into the desert. Like the one that this man's on, the Honda Race Nation Honda here of Sean Gunther. His second victory of the season, but what has happened to Leander Pienaar? He's gone missing, and that's a big problem because he's going to drop way down the field. Consistency is what it's all about, and that's what this man is putting together every single time he gets onto a quad. First desert victory for him as well. Well done, Sean Gunther.
I think I caught a bit of a break with Leander running into problems because he was really far ahead, and I ran into some problems earlier today but managed to work through them.
The route from yesterday?
Much rougher today, but I enjoyed the route today better than yesterday because it made it more interesting.
Well, that's interesting to see from Sean Gunther. A lot of guys complained that the route had got rutted up because of the cars. No problems for this man, and I did say he was going to try and get a top 3 finish. He's done just that, finishing up in 2nd place. Vincent Loubser for Lurie Yamaha.
I didn't have a good day yesterday. I started 9th. I thought 6th place might be good, but just the last 50 Ks, every 5-10 Ks somebody fell out. Some fell out, Busman and then Leander, and then I thought, okay, maybe 3rd, maybe 4th, and then I came in 2nd, so it's good. It's a good result.
Making it a top 4 finish for both of the Loubser brothers, coming across the line in 3rd place, but it will be on corrected times due to the start times this morning. A good ride though from Glenn Loubser, and we can see in the background Henrik Potgieter coming across the line. He'll be in 5th place over the line on his speed quad, but 14th overall for the day.
Yeah, very long day. Track was a bit more difficult than yesterday because of the cars that went through after us yesterday. The tracks were deep, but yeah, good day. First, not sure where I am, but hopefully 3rd.
And Karel Groenewald, youngster from Rustenburg, scoring his best result ever for the ATV Power Sport team.
And he actually finishes up in 3rd place. A great ride from him. Sean Gunther taking overall 1st place. Vincent Loubser there in 2nd. Glenn Loubser eventually in 4th. Dirk Schwenker in 5th. De Wet, Ungera, Muntz, Wickman and Muntz make up the top 10. In the championship positions now, slight changes up the front there. Carl Wickman taking the lead. As you can see, Jacques Struvig with the DNF here, fortunately dropping back down into 4th place. But Sean Gunther steps up on top of the 450 class ahead of Vincent Loubser. Jean Meyer there in 5th. All of this 1000 Desert Race action was brought to you by Speed Quad and ATV Power Sport.
SBK, the epic continues. Field of Force, live on Supersport, the world of champions. Generation Next. The future will rock your world. Where else but Supersport?
Chaos, calamity and carnage. A fitting description of recent events at Oakmont that humbled all and will haunt many for years to come. Springing a major surprise in a territory that offered no respite, the erratic Argentinian Angel Cabrera displayed unusual consistency to emerge with the prize. Who will banish the memories of Oakmont at the Buick Open? Live on Supersport and proudly sponsored by Telcom Business.
Welcome back to the Toyota 1000 Desert Race. It's round 4 of the Off-Road Motorcycle Championships. And all of this action brought to you by Honda, Roost Racing, Husqvarna, HRP and Ord Racing. Just over 120 riders have made the trek northwest of the border to Gaborone in Botswana for the Desert 1000 race. And it looks like there's going to be some really tight action in amongst these boys that are up at the top of the championship. Spencer Creel leading at the moment with Clayton Enselin on the beta there, sitting in 2nd. And Gavin Lowe with Wynand Kleinhans right on his tail there. In fact, on equal points on the 250 class.
I'm pulling away first, so there's only one thing I can do is just go as fast as I can for as long as I can. It's really simple.
So obviously the dust is not going to be such a major problem for you, but the thorns?
Yeah, dust won't be a big issue for me. Hopefully I don't make any mistakes and the other guys don't catch me, but the thorns is always an issue up here. So, you know, we got thorn sleeves and just try to ride a little bit more carefully around the trees and not clip any branches or anything like that.
Man looking to catch the boys on the 250 class will be none other than Bolly van Rooyen.
My first time here. and after just the usual preparation, and I mean just make sure everything is ready, and hopefully there's going to be a lot of sand.
From what I hear, a lot of sand, a lot of dust, a lot of thorns.
Yeah, some of the cars, we spoke to some of the guys that went out with the cars, and they reckon the first section, there are some tight pieces with, the thorns and stuff overhanging. But I think hopefully the cars would have ridden it open, and then, it shouldn't be that bad.
Further down in the 200cc class, Marcus Talliard with a comfortable lead over Carl Poppleton. And unfortunately, Theo Potgieter not here, so Wynand Delport looking to capitalise.
No, it's my first time doing a desert jar. We've done it in some other places, but yeah, they said it's going to be exactly the same, just a lot of swingy corners and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm just going to try not to take no chances, pass on safe places and stuff, and just make it home safely. That's the only thing you can do.
I've never done the desert in Botswana. First time here, but I'm looking forward to it.
Any special preparations you've done for this event?
Yeah, definitely it's going to be sandy. The suspension's a bit harder, and the thorns, it's going to be a lot of thorns, so we've got the protection on, just not to get hurt.
That's the most important thing. Racing Section 1, and away they go. Out into Racing Section 1, number 4 leads them out. That is Spencer Creel. Starting on championship positions here. That's a slightly different way of starting an off-road event. Of course, with no pre-race stage. They go straight out into Racing Section 1 on day 1, and we're going to be in for some great action here as we see the Symbols Yamaha man, Grey Dick, making his way out into the desert. Halfway through the top 10 at this point in time, and it's Gavin Lowe on the Roost Kawasaki. Right on his tail, leading the 200cc class, Carl Poppleton. Your teammate Daryl Curtis joining me in the commentary booth as per usual.
And we have Wynand Kleinhans on the Linux Yamaha going really well. Good start, and Barry Creel looks like he's got a couple of problems there. He's ran out of gas and he's trying to make it to the end of the stage.
So trying to keep as much of the fuel consumption figures down on that KTM of his. Rest of the field coming through there. That is Jacobus Jonk. First of the Ramco boys on 22. Lawrence Merton on that little Suzuki. Kasper Bardenos, Symbols Yamaha man. He's an overall championship contender, not only in the off-road series, but also in the Motard series. So some of these boys getting it completely wrong there. Out on the TM, it was number 200.
Mark Garland looked like he was doing a bit of foot dragging there.
He's going to have a little bit of advantage on anybody else there coming from this area, though.
Yeah, the same as Carl Poppleton. Carl and Mark both come from Botswana. They're very familiar with the terrain, and I think they're going to be fast.
Well, we've already seen Carl Poppleton flying through the desert at the first section that we caught them on camera. And here comes the rest of the fields coming through there. Dust is a major factor here, Daryl, as per usual. What are the kind of conditions and what preventative things can you do to keep the dust down?
Well, the guys normally put Vaseline on their goggles on the foam, acts as an air filter, stops the dust going through. And if you're further down the field, you're going to pick up dust. But the trick is obviously not to go where you can't see. And as you go into the thicker sand, the dust settles quite quickly, so not too much of a threat.
I know you're a man that normally rides any conditions with a clear lens. What kind of lens would you think these guys are going to be riding with the kind of conditions they're in?
Well, different guys have got different preferences. I personally always ride with a clear lens, but the guys sometimes try yellow tint, which keeps the glare off the terrain, but not for me.
Right, so as the riders start coming through here thick and fast, you can see that they are absolutely hauling here. No holds barred here in the desert. Cars have been through here and they've flattened out the road a little bit for you. Makes it a bit easier for you guys, I suppose, Daryl?
Yeah, I can see it's still extremely dusty here. It's very close to Gaborone still. A lot of hard pack and lots of dust.
Lots of spectators as well. That's the most important thing for you guys too, and for the sponsors involved here in the Desert 1000. We hope to see a little bit more sponsors getting involved in off-road motorcycling. And when you see the kind of crowd support that the Desert 1000 is getting, that's always a great bait to a sponsor that's looking to get involved in motorsport. Hein van der Walt coming through here on the KTM. He's the doctor of off-road racing. I know you've spent a couple of days with him as well.
Yeah, he's awesome. Every time I crash, I phone him up and say, hey, where must I go? And get fixed up again.
Phil Hanbury out there in the Ord team right on his tail, having a good time of it too. There's another KTM rider, that's 441, Pierre Smith. Another rider right on his tail. It's Robin Flores. Next up, we've got Craig Stone. Why is Craig Stone so far back?
I'm not so sure. I think he's battling a little bit in the thick sand, doing a lot more technical, more enduro type races. I think, I don't know, maybe the fast conditions caught him out.
Didn't like the flat out stuff that much, eh? 403 going through there. Very talented rider when it comes to the off-road stuff. Doing a couple of Dakars out there as well, I believe, Dan.
Yeah, Neville's been over, I think, 3 times already. He hasn't finished yet, but, definitely wants to go out there and conquer Dakar.
Ian Merck on the Sadiba Kawasaki, sponsored by Russell Campbell as well. He's also quite a way down compared to what we normally see, also taking a bit of strain, as you can see, looking to try and pick up the markers in amongst the competitors. Here comes the first man across the line. It's Spencer Creel, team manager for KTM, and right on his tail, yours truly. Let's find out from these boys how it went out there in racing section 1. Looks like they've had some fun and games. Marshall gonna just tell them, please get off the track, boys. Don't block the route.
You guys basically came in neck and neck. What's it like out there?
Very, very dusty. I've been chasing Spencer pretty much the whole way, and there's just no way to get past. And Spence had a really good day today when you were hauling. I actually couldn't pass you on the gas.
It's just difficult, you know, you just got to stay smooth. If I didn't make any mistakes, I knew he wasn't going to be able to come through the dust. So I think it'll be a little bit of a different story tomorrow. I think it might be reversed because he's closed a couple of seconds on me. So we'll see what happens tomorrow, you know?
I think we're going to be in for some fun and games tomorrow. There's no doubt between the KTM boys, but they're going to have to watch out for this man. Gray Dick has been on it and has made up quite a lot of ground on the Schimmels Yamaha.
Ray came in third, bringing half the bush with you.
Yeah, today I think I've gone through about 100 bushes today. Thorns everywhere. I had a thorn in my finger, but earlier this morning I had to take it out. But I managed to get on the pace and just keep a nice pace until halfway. We're halfway now, and I think tomorrow is going to be the day.
Fourth place on the Natro Freight Beta is Clayton Enslin. He's also had quite a good day, and he's going to be looking forward to the challenge of Racing Section 2 tomorrow. Wally van Rooyen will be along across the line and nearly puts it down coming into this final turn on board the Sadiba Russell Campbell Kawasaki. Look at that sleeve, absolutely shredded. Thorns are a major factor out there. Spencer Creel taking the win though for Racing Section 1 ahead of Daryl Curtis. Gray Dick finishes up in third, Enslin in fourth. Poppleton right up there on the 205th place ahead of Gavin Lowe on the Roos Kawasaki. Early rising, exercising, doing it better in the desert. That's what it's all about. What is your plan of action for today, Mr. Curtis?
Well, day 2, very, very early in the morning. The sun hadn't come up yet, and dust is going to be a huge factor. You know, it's just impossible to see where you're going, and the going was very tough.
How good are those new helmets that you guys are running with as well? It looks like they work pretty well to keep the dust out too, eh?
Yeah, those aero helmets are incredible. They are extremely light, and you don't even know you're wearing a helmet.
It's great to see a couple of seconds off there, and here comes Daryl Curtis into the fray, and here we go. It's a battle of the KTM's Beta and Yamaha up front. The two Kawasaki boys looking to catch them as quickly as possible. Gray Dick gets away nicely too. He's going to be a tough man to beat here today in the desert, considering that he knows where he's going now. Here comes the Beta man, Clayton Enslin. New manufacturer involved this year for the first time, and it's great to see them doing so well so quickly. Poppleton, the first of the 200s. He's going to get ahead just of those two Kawasaki's. It'll be the Roost man, Gavin Lowe, up first, and then Russell Campbell, Sadiba Kawasaki waiting alongside him there, Wally van Rooyen. Heading off into the desert now. It's a completely new stage for you boys today as well. They're also tough conditions for you.
Yeah, the cars have been out the day before, and the nice thing is they've obviously got rid of a lot of the thorn bushes, and there's some nice berms. You can see how thick the berms are, how deep they're getting in the thick sand. Absolutely awesome to ride.
In terms of choice of weapon for the day, what's going to be the ideal thing to ride in the desert in the conditions that you're in today?
In the desert, although it's tight, you definitely need a big bike. You need horsepower. The KTM 300s and like Gray's 450, they're ideal bikes, and you can see they were all near the front after the first day. The 250s are generally a lot faster in the tighter sections, but at the desert, we've got a lot of long, open sections where the four-stroke makes up too much ground. So definitely the bigger bike has its advantages, yeah.
Type of gearing that you're going to run in these conditions too?
Well, you don't want to go too long because then in the tight stuff you're going to lose out. So you've got to find a happy medium. You can get the best of both worlds.
And the kind of top speeds that you were getting off your Garmin, what kind of speeds were you registering?
I'm not too sure on the KTM. Gray was hitting 160 true speed on the big four-stroke, so
that's flat out stuff. No, that's really very, very quick considering the conditions that you've got to ride through. Here's Wynand Kleinhans. He's looking forward to some more up at the top of the field victory finishes for himself. Barry Creel also looking to get through the field as quickly as possible on board that AGA Mecha Trade Red Bull KTM.
Having run out of fuel yesterday, Barry was a bit down in the field, but hoping to make up valuable time.
Ord Racing's Carl LaRue on board the Honda. Gets his little marker, and away he goes back into the red stuff.
And again, Carl, the mealie farmer, loves the flat-out stuff.
He's going to have some fun, I'm sure. Right on his tail is his teammate, also on board the Honda. That's Corey Vandenberg. And we
Mark
go to the
Garland.
TM rider. Nice to see TM up there as well. And of course the local man, Mark Garland, as you said, Daryl. Another fast man is Hilton Smith on board the Roost KTM. Some tricky little sections that they're thrown in here in amongst the trees and also the fences of the area we're riding in here, Darryl.
You've got to be wide awake, and also the cars have churned up a couple of routes, so you'll be committed in a turn, and there'll be a root or a tree stump that can throw you over the bars, so you have to really ride carefully.
Just like we saw there for Lawrence Merton, nearly getting the front wheel washing out on him. Here comes the Spider-Man, John Webb. No problems for him. And another Kawasaki mounted rider riding for the Roost, changing allegiance in terms of the steed side of things. That's Brian Bader. He's leading the seniors at this moment and having some fun right on his tail. Casper Badenhorst, Schimmels Yamaha, teammate to Gray. And then it's the Dachshund, Lonnie van der Walt. Here comes Sean Kirk, second man in the seniors at this point in time on the Suzuki. Trying to pick up the number in amongst the dirt there, 104. Andrew Perry leading the 125 class at this point on the circuit. Ramco Suzuki man coming through there. And then ECS KTM team 27, Michael Spencer, that's teammate to Craig Stone. Kawasaki mounted rider here, Russell Campbell Sadiba Kawasaki, in fact, a 200cc Kawa.
It's actually a 254 stroke, they run in the 200 class.
Thanks very much for that. The Ramco Suzuki boys, Gavin Walsh and Dylan Ings right on his tail. He's on a gas, gets away nicely.
The guys look like they're having fun here. The root's starting to open up, and you can see that the berms are becoming really, really deep now.
It's going to be important to watch out for, though, because if you get that berm wrong, it can actually wash the front wheel out and do some collarbone damage, as some of us are a little bit more used to than others.
Or it'll high-side you and throw you into the trees. That was Graham McLaughlin that went past now. Also an old-school rider, has been around. I think he's about as old as the trees.
Well, back in DSP, looks like there's problems for one of your teammates.
Not so good. I've fallen on my shoulder that I hurt at Swaziland again. It wasn't a big crash, just a little tipped over in a berm. But I landed on it again, square on it, and so I don't think I can continue, unfortunately. But it was terrible this morning. We couldn't see. We rode for probably about 80 k's straight into the sun. Could not see anything in the dust. It was. They started us way too early. When we headed straight into the sun, there was not much you could do, but anyway, yeah, that's that. Right?
Tyron Morris on board the TM, about to get that thing started up. Or is he? Yes, indeed. There we go. Little reverse gear on the TM. It's a new innovation that TM have come up with for this bike. And away we go back into the red stuff. Little tick on the Marshall's helmet. And away we go. Husqvarna rider. Haven't seen a lot of them out there today, but it's good to see them out there. Ben Carey flying the flag high for Husky. Back into the fast stuff though, and it's Spencer Creel who leads at this point in time on board that AGA Mechatrade Red Bull KTM. Yours truly there in second place, and looking like you're having some fun and games out there, Darryl. Not easy to get through these trees.
Yeah, it was awesome. The three of us were here pretty close at this stage. We could look behind, Gray could see us. Gray looked behind, he saw Clayton. So really it was pulling out all the stops and just trying to get to the finish first.
Gavin Lowe unable to bridge the gap between you guys at this point, and so was Borley having some problems on the car. So look at the size of those thorns. That's what you got to watch out for, and that's the thing that can do some damage if you just clip one of those. Nice to see Carl still riding with those protective sleeves. I see you guys run yours underneath your advertised shirts. Yeah, trying to give the sponsors as much exposure as possible, huh?
Yeah, that's exactly it. But by the time we finish, there's not much left, so that's pointless.
So hopefully Butch is waiting at the end there to give you a new shirt, so when you do your interviews, you look the part, eh?
Yeah, that's it. Very important.
That's always important to do.
Sponsors are key. If you don't have sponsors, we're not going to go racing. There's Mark Garland again, looking really good.
He's had a great day so far, and as you said, the local knowledge is definitely going to assist him. Hilton Smith starting to close down the gap between himself and Mark Talliard. Nicely done through the field there, and here comes the Ramco boy. That's Lawrence Burton. He's the first of the Suzuki riders. So down there in 11th place at this point, looking to get into that top 10 if possible. 65, Jacobus Jonk, Ord Honda. Here comes the LaGrange Transport Band, Spider-Man, John Webb. Look at the dust and look at those berms. Just big roosts as they come out there. Oh, yeah, some fun and games. On the rocky sections, you don't want to be overtaking too many oaks in the rocky sections. Get it wrong there and you're going to get hurt. Oopsie daisy, nearly did that.
This is a typical terrain of the latter half of the race. It started getting a little bit more stony. We started running out of sand and more treacherous conditions with more dust.
Senior riders in amongst some of the quicker riders from the other classes too. This is what's going to happen as we see that's Casper Badenhorst, the Schimmels Yamaha boy. Looks like starting to feel a bit of the fatigue as well by this stage, Daryl?
Yeah, and also quite a dangerous stage because the guys have been used to going flat out through soft sand, and all of a sudden you're faced with boulders and rocks and things like that. So, yeah, time to be careful.
Very, very careful indeed. That's what you need to do. 104 was Andrew Perry. He's the leader of the 125 class.
And then we have Sean Kirk really trying hard to close the gap on Perry.
Brandon Bauer, another Ramco Suzuki boy, riding in the senior class. He's lying in third place at the moment, and well, he's got a bit of a battle on his hands. I think Casper Badenhorst is going to be slowing him down a little bit there, and he wants to get up there with Lonnie van der Walt too in that 200cc class.
Michael Spencer too, coming through with half a tree on his back, and
that's Brett Cummings on the 254 stroke in the 200 class. Daryl.
That's good, Greg. I'm glad you got it right.
I got it right this time. Sorry about that one, Brett, earlier, but yeah. And that's why I just talk about the machines. I don't actually ride them, and to try and tell the difference between a 200 and a 254 stroke and a 125 two-stroke and a 125 four-stroke, well, it's not easy. They all look the same, and they all give us just as much joy. Nicholas Pinar starting to make his way through the field. He's the man who leads the championship. Unfortunately, Theo Potgieter from Suzuki not here this weekend. It's going to cost him a bit in the championship, and he's going to lose out here to these boys that are here. He's going to try and catch Andrew Perry and Nicholas Pinar, who is now up to second place in that 125 class. That is Pinar coming into sight one more time through the big thorn trees. Starting to close down on the lead man. 125 leader is Andrew Perry. Then we've got Graham McLaughlin coming through, and Dudley Smith on the Husqvarna sitting in third place in the seniors with only a couple of Ks to go. It's coming to the closing stages of this race, and we're going to be in for some... Ooh! Don't want to be stalling a motorcycle right there. Getting it a little bit wrong there, one of the Ramco boys. Here comes Craig Stone. Way off the pace here this weekend, but still having a good time of it. Giving a big thumbs up there to the cameraman as they come through these tight and twisty bits. Soft, smooth sand once again, out of the rocky stuff. What's the plan of action to get to the finish line from here on, Mr. Curtis?
Well, very important to get into a nice, smooth rhythm. Just ride cautiously, and you'll find that you'll be faster than trying to race fast.
Ruan Roberts, he's on board the TM, doing a good job sitting in fifth place in the 125 class. Looks like that's Christopher Gomez on his tail, and he's made up a lot of ground, and definitely a man to watch out for. If he's carrying on at that kind of pace, there's a good possibility he may end up a little bit further up on the final result sheet. We're just missing a little ant mound there, or a rock, and that's Luciano Greyling on his Kawasaki.
And as you can see here, it's starting to get really, really dusty towards the end. You know, it's just so hard to see where you're going, and just gotta take it one step at a time and ride where you can see.
Tap off slightly in the dusty bits and climb onto the accelerator as soon as you can.
Exactly that.
Well, that's what you hear on the Rapid Motion Dirtworks. Put it into action when you get out there on the racing track yourself. Just like this man is doing on a little bit of a holiday. That's Dale Holiday from Zambia. The AMU boys down here in Botswana participating in the National Off-Road. It's great to see that people coming from all over the country to participate in the desert. It's not always easy to do when guys are riding on tight budgets. But of course, the Desert 1000 race is definitely one of the best ones to be on for the season. Definitely one to enjoy because we do get to match up with the cars for the first time this year as well.
It's definitely great to be back with the car guys. We know a lot of them from years gone past, and it's nice and festive, and there's always good camaraderie and good chirps going around the pits.
And of course, some of the bike guys have gone to cars, car guys coming to bikes. One to mention, of course, Alfie Cox riding in the Motorite back team. And I'm sure we're going to get to see him at some stage during this event. It's great to see that the bikes, quads and cars are all back together again. Like they should be, maybe, huh?
Yeah, it's just a case of safety. It's not good to race against the cars on the same track. It's the slow bikes slow the fast cars down and vice versa. So it's good to have them on separate routes, and we can go race together, definitely.
Into the finish line, and look at this. A big turn up for the books. Across the line first, Schimmel's Yamaha's Grey Dick has taken it over the 2KTM boys. What happened out there, Daryl?
Well, Grey's known as the Desert King, and he got it together this race. And I got a bit tied up in a bush, trying to catch Spencer rather, and Grey got the better of both of us.
Spencer coming through in second place for the AGA Mechatrade Red Bull KTM, followed in by yours truly, Daryl Curtis, in third place.
Yeah, and I'm about halfway on the loop now. I started seeing some dust, and I got right up to Daryl just before a refuel, and we sort of came out nearly together out of the refuel. And about 2 k's down the road, Daryl was through a bush, and he was just thorn bushes all over him. So I managed to get past quite easy. Then
caught up to Spencer, and it was a nice section with not too much dust, so I managed to sneak through. So I'm just glad I came through first. I'd like to thank the guys from Schimmels, from Dirtsure, all my sponsors. Thanks a lot, guys.
Spencer Creel doing his championship contention. A lot of good here this weekend. But let's find out where Gray caught him.
Yeah, he just got us in the section coming home. It was really quick, and I think we probably got into a bit of a rhythm that wasn't fast enough. And yeah, he caught us snoozing. So
You got a couple of.
yeah, went through like a bush or tree or something, and that grabbed me on the nose. And then there's all these little like loose branches hanging that the cars have stripped all the leaves off, so you don't see them until they hit you on the nose or in the goggles or whatever. So.
Can hurt, but well done to Grey Dick. Spencer Creel finished up in second place and Curtis in third. First of the 250s was Bolie van Rooyen in fifth place. Carl Poppleton, the first of the 200s, down there in eighth place on his KTM. The first of the 125s was all the way down in 18th place. That was Andrew Perry on his Yamaha. And look at that, the 254 stroke of Brett Cummings coming in 20th. Let's catch up with the first 250 rider across the line. Russell Campbell, Sadiba Kawasaki, Bolie van Rooyen.
Yeah, not too bad. Just tried keeping the pace. Had a big crash yesterday, and battled a bit in the morning to get back into into a nice rhythm. I had Gavin Lowe in front of me, and battled a bit with the dust. But I mean, I knew I just had to get in front of him, so I just stayed behind him, and eventually got past him and just kept a steady pace to the end.
Top 200 rider on number 7, KTM boy, Carl Poppleton.
Great day. I had a good 2 days. Started 12th and I managed to catch up to 5th yesterday. And then I started 5th today and I dropped back a little bit, but I'm not complaining. I'm happy with my win today. Awesome race. Good marking. The sand is awesome. What a good day.
Seniors finishing up Brian Bader on the top ahead of Sean Kirk and Dudley Smith. And Ian van der Walt on the KTM ahead of Leenstra, Pittard and Garland.
I was a little worried because I didn't recall where I had to stop, so I just continued and got a little concerned because my fuel was really low. Lucky I put some fuel out at the last stop and was able to get through to the end. So it was a great race, very nice.
Keen to come back?
Absolutely, nice and fast. The guys were absolutely superb. Stuart and his team were superb. The bike was great. It was all around a fantastic day and 2 good days of racing.
Spencer Creel maintaining his lead in the open class, but Grey Dick, a big mover there, up to second place on the Schimmels Yamaha. Gavin Lowe still ahead in the 250 class, but a good move from Bolie van Rooyen to get him up a little bit closer. In the 200cc, Marcus Talliard also maintains, but Carl Poppleton is the big mover from this weekend, and he moves up into second place. Wynand Delport still in first place, but Pienaar moving up and Potgieter moving down. All of this 1,000 desert race action. Round 4 of the Off-Road Motorcycle Championships was brought to you by Husqvarna, HRP, Ord Racing, Honda Wing Santon and Roost Racing.